Hi-ho, folks, and welcome back to the adventures of Turwinkle, the Gnome Mage. Well, hi, Turwinkle.
Hello.
Are you all set for tonight?
Affirmative.
Well, great, because as you can see, we are in the howling fjords. And so it's a little dangerous for us to be here tonight, but we wanted to come and talk to these two wonderful dwarves. And so we are going to hop right into the interview with Floim and Gimlo here in a moment. Hello, guys. And so we are looking forward to this, and this should be a lot of fun tonight. This is going to be a fun interview. So we'll get right to it, and we'll be right back to meet these two fine dwarves. All right, and we are set to go here. And let's meet these two, shall we? So first of all, we have the cook. He is an angler, chef, Cell-Axe. I don't... we will ask him about that, what Cell-Axe is. Nickname the cook. The cook is nicknamed the cook, okay. He is of the townfolk of New...
Let's get on with it then.
Okay.
I've got a quest to do in 15 minutes.
This is this is going to be a lot of fun, folks, I'm telling you.
Damn straight.
So this is Chef Gimlo of the Alliance. He's a level 90 epic dwarf warrior. Currently, get in my belly. Okay? So, great. That is the cook. And secondly, we have Floim, I want to say Floim, Stillface, prospector, extreme angler, chef, former siege engineer, tinkerer, nickname the dwarf with the face, Casmodon, manager of Arclight Industries, which we will be interviewing here within the next couple weeks. Great guild. He is Floim the Hordebreaker, level 90 dwarf paladin, and currently being the WoW counterpart of Jabba the Hutt. So, great. So we will go ahead and get right into the questions with these two wonderful RPers. And so we'll be right back, folks. All right, and we're back. So wonderful. So let's get started with the questions, shall we? Floim says, all right. Okie dokie. My first question goes to the cook. What does it mean in your tag when you say you're a Cell-Axe? Well, also based off my main character, Gimlo, Cell-Axe is basically a sellsword, but better. And if any of you have read the Game of Thrones series, a sellsword, or it may be used in other fantasy novels as well, but a sellsword is basically a mercenary. But he's better because he's a dwarf. I said, all right. So how did you two come up with your names? Was it something you read or saw in a movie, or did you just make them up? Floim says, well, at the time I was currently reading The Hobbit and saw Owen and Glowin and thought, oh hey, Floim. Gimlo, well, the cook was made up on the spot prior to an event for his creation. Turns out he became so liked by people he interacted with, I kept him. Gimlo, however, I'll give you a hint. I have a gnome friend named Frody. I see, very nice. So how long have you two played these dwarves? Floim says, well, I started WoW back in Wrath as a Draenei, faction changed to a Tauren, and then found this RP server and made Floim. So to answer your question, maybe a year or so. Gimlo says, Gimlo was created in the Wrath of the Lich King a good while back. The cook came into fruition in late Cataclysm, so a fair while. At night, Gimlo says, I look upon potatoes with lust in my eyes. So what? Oh, those potatoes, Floim says. Shut up. It had to be said. The cook smacks Floim upside the head. No, I feel ya. I feel ya. Bearded love. Okay, and again, these two are just absolutely hilarious. So there we go, folks. And we'll be back with some more questions from these two. All right, so we're sitting down. We're all comfortable. And we're going to continue the questions. So I asked, so when did you two start RPing together? Floim says, I want to say about a month ago when he introduced me to Cannibalism RP. And we will go into that in just a second. And as you can see, these two are just, it's really hard for them, I think, to sit in one spot. And so thank you guys for doing the best that they can, and we'll continue on. I said, so about a month ago then, how did you two meet? And Gimlo said through his guild. Lingus is a friendly with the Arclight. And I imagine Lingus is one of his other tunes. And then Floim appeared. Yes, Floim says. Floim, give me your cod. Why? Take my meaty mace. Focus, Gimlo. Right. So again, it's these two are just, they're hilarious, and it's hard for them to sit in one spot for too long. So we try to get through these as quickly as we can. So yeah, to answer your question, we met through Arclight and grew in our RP from there. So great. Now then, what would you guys consider your RP to be? Heavy, medium, or light RP? And Floim says comedic. Gimlo says, I'm normally a heavy RPer, but the cook is full-on comedy with a hint of morbidity, if that's even a word. If it isn't, I'll eat you. Gimlo, it's still comedic. Some people just don't get our humor, and the cook, he laughs at Floim, and they think it's an abomination. Well, cannibalism, yes, gentlemen, is an abomination in real life, but it can be funny in the way that they do it. It isn't that right? Maybe. Interesting. So explain that a little, guys. I said it is heavy RP, but you're like a dark comedy movie in a way, where yes, the horrible things are going on, but in a funny fashion. And Floim says, well, Floim overall is a comedic RPer or role player, but when he role plays as Colonel Steelface, it's dark comedy. Gimlo says, well, it's comedic in that we hold a lot of humor how we do it. From what we say to how our emotes go, it's morbid in the sense that I've almost eaten a child before, and people have been hurt by these two. Floim says, a child? Oh my. Gimlo says, hey, he took candies from strangers. The cook nods. Oh. And he barely made it out alive. Okay. Now let me explain to you folks how Turwinkle met these two wonderful RPers. It just happened to meet him one night in right after the fashion event on the Emerald Dream, and I was coming back to Wormrest Accord, and they were there, and they had a wonderful sense of RP about them, and I had no idea that they were cannibals. And so the next day or so, they came up and asked if Turwinkle wanted to taste test one of their new recipes that they had made. They were opening a restaurant in Stormwind, and again, I had no idea of their RP, and I said sure, and they took me off to an alleyway, and because they didn't want anybody to see their secret ingredient, which was a paralyzing drug, and they were going to eat Turwinkle, but Turwinkle was saved by some of the nice folks of the Conclave of Zora, who saved Turwinkle just in time. And but again, these two are so funny, and they really made the RP fun and interesting, and just a lot of fun to be with. So I right away had to get with them and talk to them about this wonderful RP. It says we don't RP it as some kind of Saw movie and that it's hideously gory. We make it lighthearted, and they really do. It's a lot of fun, and so we'll get more into that here in just a moment. All right, and we're back with some more questions for these two. So how did you come up with the idea for the RP? And Gimlo says, that is a funny story for me. Floim says, yes, Gimmy, I would like to know as well. He says, a long time ago, I was in a pack guild on my Worgen, right? Floim says, black. We had an event going on. Worgen hunters were needed. Me, the guild leader, and a few others went ahead with this on different characters. People who hunt Worgen, you mean? I used Gimlo, made up the cook, and yes, that Flummy. Oh, okay. But in short, the cook was born as a dwarf who went out to kill Worgen and eat them. Okay, again, these two. Okay. Gimlo, I didn't laugh. You should have added a badum-dis, badum-ts at the end. Okay, I get it now. To this day, people yell, "Cook, my liege," when they see me at random. that was over a year ago. So people still remember an RP event they used. And again, this is wonderful where someone takes an RP event, makes a random character specifically for that event, but love the RP that they've created so much that it becomes almost like a main character for them. And they've turned it into something that has really grown and transformed from that moment. It's so wonderful. I kept him because he was so memorable. I said, wonderful story behind your tune and your RP. So, how do most people react to your guys' style of RP? Foam says, mostly I get positive feedback when I do random weird stuff, though occasionally there's one Mr. Grumpy Face, but it doesn't bother me. Well, as you recall, it all starts out a bit fishy, no pun intended from Floam's fish weapon. Then they get shocked at the fact that we're about to eat them. It gets all kinds of hilarity. And again, I was really caught off guard and really enjoyed the RP and the spontaneity of it, and again, it being so unexpected. It's really a lot of fun. Especially, so, I know, and I said that, I said I know I was surprised, but had a lot of fun with it because it was so unexpected. So you think most people enjoy it and are supportive then? Flom says, we hope so. We want to bring some new and unexpected RP events to random people we see. So great. So we will get back with some more questions for these. All right. Well, these two have been so very patient so far, and so we really appreciate it. I asked, so do you guys know each other outside of the game? And Flom says, not at all. Gimlo says, nope. We're not even battle tagged. It's like, holy smokes, these guys, but they flow so well together. Their RP is so well together. They riff off each other so very well. I'm surprised by that, actually. And I says, wow, so is there any plans to meet perhaps down the line? And Flob says, no. And Gimlo says, I don't believe so unless he stalks me. Says, so what can you tell us about yourselves outside the game? Floam says, what's to say? I enjoy playing WoW as a hobby. Gimlo says, I'm active in a gym I go to for fun. I play WoW in my free time. Take my girlfriend out. Oh, I'm also in college. I said, do you play any other RP games like Rift or D&D, that sort of thing? Floam says, together. I said, or on your own. Gimlo says, back in the day I played RuneScape and Star Wars Galaxies, but only first-player RPGs nowadays, excluding WoW, of course. Floam says, well, my guild does a weekly online D&D session type thing, which is loads of fun. And he says, and yeah, I used to play RuneScape and City of Heroes, that sort of thing. But WoW is mainly the only MMO game I play nowadays. So wonderful. So again, these guys met each other in the game and have formed their RP around each other, but you know, they just do the RP together, and that's the extent of it. And they really do such a fantastic job with it that I am a little surprised that they aren't even battle tagged and that they don't know each other outside the game, because again, their connection seems so very well put together in their RP that it goes to show that you can RP with anybody, whether you know them in real life or not, and it could seem seamless. And so these guys have done a really good job with that. So we'll come back with a few more questions for these two, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So how often do you two run your RP? Not as much as we'd like to, Floam says. It's usually when we feel like it. It's rare enough that people don't expect it, says Gimlo. I see. Do you consider these two to be your mains then? Floam says, Floam is my main and my only level 90. I'm an altaholic, which means I can't stop making alts. I'll level them to 20, delete them, and make a new one. I do the same thing, actually. I have a hard time with that as well. Gimlo says Gimlo's my third most played. Second is Lignus, and my most played is Raphael, the rogue, not the priest DK. And Floam says there is a lot of Raphaels out there, and there is. So, what advice would you give people who would like to try RPing in the game, guys? Floam says, look up role-playing guides before you get into it. A little knowledge of role-play is essential before you get into it. The do's and don'ts. If you want to be a gnome, look up a gnome roleplay guide and see if your character idea would work. Gimlo says, stick to themes, the lore even. While people can be creative, it doesn't make it a grand idea to strafe too out there. But other than that, pick something you'll like and then get a good story formulating. And ask anyone you know who RPs a lot for advice. And be a dwarf, says Floam. Dwarf RP, master race. Okay, so those were really good answers. I said, so do you recommend any add-ons that might help with RP? Floam says, MRP is a great one because it lets you make a backstory for your character and such. And again, we have covered MRP as, again, that is the My Roleplay add-on. And it's really good, and we use it in most of our interviews, so it's wonderful. Gimlo says MRP, GHI, TRP2, and tongues are all great and useful. Also like Atlas Loot for picking out and finding outfits. GHI is also a good one if you want to make things, says Floam. Yes, Atlas Loot as well. And all those are really good and useful tools. And you can find most of them just by going to the curse, curse.com, and they have most of those add-ons available and easily installed into your game, and it really does make a big difference when you're going to RP, because they give you such a wide variety of options to use to help you with your RP. So all those are wonderful answers, and we'll come back with some final thoughts with these two. Right. So we're back, and I only wish you folks could see between shots the hilarity. It's just a joy to spend time with these two because they're just so funny. As you can see, Floam is a smaller version of himself, and it's a lot of fun. So we ask, so what do you guys enjoy most about RPing with these two lovable dwarves? Floam says, that's a tough question. I'm not tied down to the laws of lore with Floam. I break the fourth wall willy-nilly and enjoy it. Gimlo says, I will occasionally break the fourth wall and make some obviously crazed and unrealistic things, but I too try to keep to the lore. But what I love most is the humor. I laugh way too hard at our own jokes. Floam says, then we know at least someone is laughing. Floam tears up, and the children. Oh, I love making the little children laugh. Indeed. So what does the future hold for these two? A restaurant, maybe? Gimlo says a restaurant is what we say to bring our victims to. Floam smiles. Silly, oblivious people. In other words, realistically speaking, they'll probably be killed in some horribly ironic way. Floam says, I imagine Floam being murdered by Big Bertha, the dwarven, the fat dwarven queen of Stillflace clan. And we'll go into that in just a second, what happened there with that turkey in just a second. But that won't happen until WoW is closed, or I decide I'm tired with the game, which won't happen for a long time. And I said, that's definitely good to hear. And Floam says, oh, Big Bertha. Said, has anyone approached you two to become part of your storyline as a main character in their story? Like another dwarf with similar tastes, perhaps? And Floam says, surprisingly no, but I guess I can understand that, though. You need guts, courage, and a bawling beard to do it. Need a great beard to do it. And I think Turwinkle would fit right in, because he has a wonderful beard. He says, nope, but we're a trio nonetheless. It says, cannibal RP isn't for the squeamish, says Floam, and that's true. I said, oh yes, how could I forget Senator Snipe speaking about the trio? So please introduce us to him and fill us in on his story. Gimlo says, Sinister Snipe is based off the Futurama crab, Snips. I keep saying Snipes. It's Snips. Sinister Snips is based off the Futurama crab, Citizen Snips, for starters. Floam says, why not Zoidberg? In RP, he is the cook's husband. He has a bloody ring on one of his legs. And the wedding cake was the priest who was forced to marry us to. And Floim says, that's beautiful. Snips is often punted at one point or another in RP fights, which did happen in the fight that Conclave had with these two, the Conclave of Zora had with these two when they came to rescue Turwinkle. They punted Snips into the face of one of the people that were helping me. Floim says cosmetic items are a big part of our RP. Said, have you found a lot of items that you use for your RP within the game itself, or have you fashioned most of them with, say, GHI items? Floim says most of them are in game, and Gimlo says mostly cosmetic on my end. An example, and as you saw there just a few minutes ago, one of the items they use is the turkey that senses his destiny and jumps into the fire and turns into a cooked turkey. So that's something that you can get in the game. And so they use those types of items to enhance their RP, which is just great. So that is perfect. We will get back with some final words with these two. They've been so patient and so kind with Turwinkle's questions. And again, it has been just a joy to sit down with these two, because it's been so much fun in between takes with their funny RPs. So we'll get... All right, well, we come back with one final question. What advice would you give someone who is trying to do comedic RP? For those people that are out there going, boy, this is a lot of fun, how do I do it? Floim says you don't have to break the fourth wall, but it is sure fun to do. Gimlo says appeal to people's humor. You don't have to be crazy for a laugh. That too, you don't have to be really wacky with it, but I think what they're saying is, enjoy what you're doing, and stuff like this. It's funny stuff. Okay. Floim says, do what you want to do, and don't let the haters get you down. Don't hate the player, man. Hate the game. Also, play more gnomes. We're hungry. And play more dwarves. Well, thank you, too, for the wonderful chat. It certainly is nice to get the chance to know you two a bit better, and I look forward to seeing what's in store for you two down the line. Holy smokes. Okay, Turwinkle. Boy, look away, folks. Look away. Let's not... We will see you folks back at the tent. Oh my goodness. All right, well, we're back in the hinterlands, and Turwinkle's safe now. They did not eat him. Turwinkle, what an interesting two, aren't they?
Indubitably.
Really. And folks, so they have taken a different approach when it comes to RP. And they're looking to make an RP that is something that people can laugh at and have a good time with. It's not a serious RP or heavy into drama or any of that other stuff. It's more of a lighthearted, in a sort of dark way, but still lighthearted nonetheless, and a really fun and unique RP. So we hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, click the like button. Lets us know we're going in the right direction. If you'd like to comment on their unique RP, please do so below. Let us know what you thought. And finally, if you would love, we would love to have you on Team Turwinkle, so subscribe tonight. Well, Turwinkle, very interesting night and wonderful RP. Good job with your questions again, sir. Wonderful as always. And we shall see you next time, Turwinkle.
I'll miss you.
We'll miss you too, sir. Bye-bye.